The Himalaya is the greatest mountain range on Earth. And every year, small family groups must cross these giant peaks in an ongoing battle for survival. Karma Cheering has traveled this journey every year since he was a child. He must now lead his own family over some of the highest mountain passes on the planet. Along tiny trails carved into the mountainside, man and animals strive to reach the safety of the lowlands before winter sets in. Yaks carry bags of Tibetan salt, which the families will trade for food in the villages to the south. With their endurance pushed to the very limit, the people of Dolpo travel one of the greatest traditional journeys left on Earth. Dolpo is one of the highest inhabited regions on Earth. For thousands of years, it's been virtually cut off from the outside world. High mountain barriers keeping it isolated and remote to this day. Lying in northwest Nepal, Dolpo sits on the border with Tibet. The parched brown peaks of the Tibetan plateau, visible from high points all across the region. Here, in the shadow of the high Himalaya, life goes on as it has for centuries, almost entirely unchanged. Today, the people of Upper Dolpo form one of the last great enclaves on Earth of pure Tibetan culture. It's thought the first people came to the region some 1100 years ago, perhaps refugees fleeing persecution, or monks seeking solitude. Its isolation meant Dolpo became known as Bah Yul, the hidden land. Saldang is a small village just 20 kilometers southwest of the Tibetan border. It's late autumn and the summer rains are a distant memory. The region's as dry as a desert. Barley has been cut from small man-made terraces, but the tiny harvest is nowhere near enough to sustain the people through the long winter ahead. Soon, temperatures will drop way below freezing, and deep snow will blanket the mountains, blocking the high passes and cutting the region off from the outside world. Karma Cheering is 33 years old and devotes his life to his family and his yaks. There are few places on Earth where people depend so completely on just one animal. A few weeks ago, Karma made the 4-day journey to Tibet to buy and trade some barley for bags of salt that he will trade on at the end of his great journey south. Through traders like Karma, Tibet once supplied Nepal with most of its salt. But today, cheap imports from India have made the price plummet. The future of this ancient salt trade now hangs in the balance. Karma must bring his family with him across the mountains. His wife Doma carries the heavy burden of looking after their 4 children on the arduous trip. Even young children are expected to pull their weight by carrying their younger siblings over the rough trails. Life in Saldang is governed by the Tibetan calendar. And before the caravans can leave, an elaborate religious ceremony must be played out. Monks gather in the village monastery, and for the next 10 days they will stay here from dawn to dusk until they've read the monastery's entire library of prayers and oracles. Only when the ceremony is complete can the caravans head south into the heart of the mountains. Finally, the day of departure has arrived. The yaks are loaded with supplies and the bags of precious salt. It is the 9th of November, and Karma's group is the very first to leave Saldang this year. Soon, the other caravans will follow. Ahead is a journey up and over the main spine of the Himalaya that will eventually bring them to their winter homes in the lower valleys. Traveling alongside his family are some of Karma's friends, and in the red headscarf, his father. Palsang is 65, fit and wiry, but for him this will be a fateful journey. Their route will take the caravan southwest from Saldang to Shey Gompa, and then due south across some high passes to Phoksundo Lake, before they turn southwest for Hurikot over the formidable Kagmara La Pass at over 5,000 meters in altitude. The first major pass on their journey south is the Shey La. At over 5,000 meters, the Shey La is 2 days' climb from Saldang. From here, they catch the last glimpse of their home valley until they return in April, 6 months from now. They are now entering the snows of the high Himalaya. Two long days of travel brings the caravan to its first major stop on the journey. This is Shey, a small settlement at the confluence of 3 Himalayan valleys. Shey is one of the holiest places in the Himalaya, a focus of pilgrimage and reverence for over 1,000 years. The monastery here dates back to the 11th century and was said to have been built by a lama who arrived on the back of a flying snow lion. The monastery walls are covered in fantastical images of gods and demons. At the same time that Buddhism was taking hold in this region, there was another faith practiced in Dolpo called Bon. The early Buddhists incorporated elements of this animistic faith into their religion, and this fusion is alive to this day. Karma's father, Palsang, used to lead him on the caravan to Hurikot. But now the older man is content to let his son take charge. A strong bond of friendship and respect ties father and son, forged over decades of traveling these mountains together.
니 역보다마다 군에서 두는 이도 뭔가 집어 저지대. 나가 니 파마는 같이 뭐 딘천 보이. 아직도 되게 좋은데. 대지 아직 그냥 볼래 연대 말아 아직 그런 가나 로티사는 가 티대. 파운갈래 파우토동갈래 이스고 맞아면서 나 그루자면 딱 나랑 이스고 좋아한 거지.
But this is Palsang's last evening on Earth. And these are the very last pictures taken of him. 12 hours later, Palsang began coughing blood and collapsed in front of his family.
아바테 산에다 드론이다 나 파만네
A strong, quiet man, used to the hardships of a nomadic life, Palsang had shown no signs of illness.
지나 미 이렇게 파만데 삼바가로중 어제 아직 그런 정거 트레레 지나갈래 강아마즈 이직자데 정자데 빼 그런 내 아직 군는 저 나와산자 저 hingi 그런 풍부 쇼그들 꽤 그런 제진 기드라샤고 야고중 다 지중는 장아 아직도 이제 들어오는 나 체라디 친구들과 제거도 나 당하지 아직도 자 조심아 아직도 지금 뭐 세마다 되는가
In the very last act to be carried out with his father, Karma wraps the body in a blanket and carries it up the hillside for cremation. Four days have passed in Shey, and all funeral rites are now complete. The caravan must move on and try and make up for the lost time. As leader, Karma is now completely on his own. His father no longer behind him with guidance and support.
신선 놀가를 따온다. 신선 놀가를 따면 뒤지긴 될 하기도 하지. 나
With winter closing in fast, their journey has hardly begun. And the caravan must soon face one of the most difficult obstacles on its entire migration. For just ahead is the Chutong La. At over 5,200 meters, it is the highest pass on their journey south. Even for the yaks, the long climb to the pass is an arduous undertaking. Everyone is praying the good weather will continue to hold. With children as young as 5 months old, Karma can't afford to spend 1 minute too long in a place as exposed as this. From its narrow saddle, the Chutong La drops sheer to the west, and the steep slope down is underlain by sheets of icy snow. The yak's sharp hooves give the animals a good footing. Less fortunate are the children in their plastic shoes.
장금 하던 용 샘라시 양아도 수다된 그런 다른 영화 동만 양 야디츠 네가 가가 창고다 맞은 디츠니 들나나 보니야.
They've been 10 hours on the trail without a minute's rest. Luckily, the weather continues to be kind. Just a few years ago, the caravan was caught here in a violent storm. 3 people died and many animals were lost. Today they must press on quickly, as they still have a long way to go before nightfall. The Chutong La safely behind them, Karma eventually calls a halt. Everyone is exhausted. Tonight his family will have meat, a rare treat, and it should improve their spirits after such an arduous day.
성공은 연락 가면 와. 미리만 하라 됩니다. 거기서 보라 있으니까 내 좀 또비야.
진짜. 뭐야?
똥가도 새끼 뭐 먹지 마자 찌트로 넘겨. 그런 나오는 게 많이. 장난 뭐 태우고 가더라. 그러면 주저지. 이나가 뒤에도 미즈비비 야트마디 뒤에 비비 있는서 이나 이거가 향마레를 제도래서 향마레 꾸르레부 향마레 꾸르레 이지그램 수다를 짜자데 미즈비디 미즈 캔비 상는 들어오나 기능 상는 샘진 도도다 디 로큐트 또때 휴먼 야마 보아라서 대샘라 에코라 요지고는 땅한 디 돈도데 이제 계속이면 내가 그랑 감시 어디는 뒤돈도 그랑 좀 된 세바크는 이 국입니다.
As the caravan loses height, the snow and ice of the Chutong La gives way to rocky trails, worn smooth by 1,000,000 hooves over 1,000 years. From Shey and the Chutong La, it will take them 3 days to reach one of the most striking geographical locations in the Himalaya, the azure blue waters of Phoksundo Lake. For a people born in the high desert valleys of Dolpo, the sight of trees and thick vegetation marks their passage into a new world. Below 4,000 meters, they leave the alpine zone, and blue pine, silver fir, oak, birch, and rhododendron start to make their appearance. Finally, the caravan reaches Phoksundo Lake, one of the great landmarks on their journey. At 3,600 meters in altitude, Phoksundo is one of the highest lakes on Earth and the deepest lake in Nepal. Phoksundo's waters are extraordinarily clear, and its unearthly blue color is embedded in the story of the lake's creation. Local folklore tells of how a powerful demon was fleeing a Buddhist saint. The demon gave some precious turquoise to a village here, on condition they would not betray her whereabouts. But the villagers gave the demon's location away, and in an act of vengeance, she flooded the valley with turquoise waters, creating Phoksundo Lake. Legend has it that the village buildings remain intact to this day, far below the sunlit surface waters. But the old stories are far from Karma's mind, as he contemplates one of the most dangerous stages of their journey. 10 hours around the lake to a village on the south side, along a perilous trail carved into the face of the mountain.
Ngalam hatem yang lamga kawade gyugye dogo de tunajane. Lam kawade tujede sidong maje ye chiong. Tipe lab ko yana yom chane tichane tudi.
Karma's daughter Dalma is 12, and she must carry her 4-year-old sister Puti across one of the most exposed trails in the Himalaya. One slip would be fatal. Built more than 1,000 years ago, the trail is shored up with stones and branches, and in many places, it's in danger of collapsing completely.
ni con ne na ti chu yu le don me chang thong dwan sang ti pi nga to de ni con ne sung ta de yang.
It has taken the entire day to cross the Phoksundo trail. But everyone is safe and can now relax in the last of the late afternoon sun. Ringmo is home to some 200 people of Tibetan origin and is the largest village on their route. In a pattern repeated all across the world, the settled villagers are not happy about the presence of wandering nomads.
Natak lang din short tin yang ora piu long la chi yang ato.
Just outside Ringmo is a monastery overlooking Phoksundo Lake. It's one of the few institutions left in the world still exclusively devoted to the ancient religion of Bon, once widely practiced all across Dolpo and Tibet. Bon is animistic in origin, believing spirits or souls reside in all living things. And it contains strong elements of magic and exorcism which survive to this day. The whole village of Ringmo turns out for one of the high points of their year, an 8-hour Bon ceremony that goes on well into the night hours. Three days pass in Ringmo before Karma believes they're rested enough to continue their journey south. Phoksundo Lake has just one outlet, the highest waterfall in the entire Nepal Himalaya. It drops hundreds of meters into the Suligad River below. Dropping in altitude all the time now, the caravaneers can feel the warmth of the lowlands rising to meet them.
다른 영화 정말 양 하고 싶지 양 주다는 많이 무슨 샘다시 샘링이 세우는 샘다시 궁금이들이 루 카잡대 룽르 두름 히 탁저지 다랑아 이게는 루 장어서네 시
The cruelest twist to their entire journey is that after almost 2 weeks of continuous descent, in which they've dropped almost 3,000 meters in altitude, the caravan must start climbing all over again. For ahead is a pass they must cross of over 5,000 meters in altitude, the Kagmara. Over the next few days, they must regain every one of the 3,000 meters they've dropped since they left Shey Monastery 10 days ago. It will take them 3 days to reach the pass. And once safely across, they're on the home stretch down to their winter home in Hurikot. For Karma, this year's journey has been especially tough. The loss of his father continues to weigh heavily on him. But as leader, he must remain philosophical, driving himself and his family on without complaint. Tonight, they will camp below the pass at 4,000 meters. But high winds are tearing at the surrounding peaks, and the families hope they will have calmed by the time they start their ascent in the morning. On the cusp of completing the last major hurdle of his journey, Karma completes preparations for the day ahead. Once on the south side of the Kagmara, it will be all downhill into a warm land of grain and plenty. But Karma can't afford to drop his guard for an instant. The Kagmara must be traversed to complete their extraordinary journey across the roof of the world. the wind ripping through the valley at more than 50 kilometers an hour, the temperature is way below freezing. But the snow is solid underfoot, and the axe can make good progress. Eight hours of continuous climbing later, and they're approaching the crux of the pass, the high point at 5,100 meters. Like his father and his many other ancestors who have struggled past this point, Karma pauses to pay tribute and thank the gods for their safe passage this year. "17 days after leaving Saldang, the caravan has crossed the high Himalaya. They are almost home. Two more days' travel will see them drop more than 2,500 meters in altitude and into the warmth of the Himalayan middle valleys. It's now late November, and soon snow will fall and close all of the passes behind them. There will be no going back.
세바 강화 김정 가나서는 단디지 단디를 했던 남자는 저라면 라강이네 lun강이네 루장자님이 작는 말레로니 미다가 가는 말레로니 미다는 루장은 ጻ세데 레티네 왕레티네 나 중중의 팬 파면상 파마상 어디 지나셔 미즈비자야 나좀 파면 미즈비비가 어디 제대 야가 전에 중중 팬 되게 제대 롱문양보다 중중 팬 뒤로 울고 다들 울고 제건 니마샤르 가다 세만 현지보도 우르고 제자실은 니마샤르 가와코 추도 구반은 만데 니마 해야 돼 니마고 샤르 가와는 니마 좀보 싱녀모 추라녀모 돈다 때려가 다들
The local farmers are old friends, but Karma's smiles hide a deep unease about the future of his journey and the value of the salt he has carried so far.
이제 자다 채원에 버데 은 살에 내지공 들이자마 되게 띠미데도 왜 대전도로 랑 이제 내원내장 이제 나 받은 이제 학대 되게 어제 그전 그는 공대로 지내야 되도록 숨대락도 나도록 가일도
눈 राम्रो रहेछ
कति लेना अब बन्ने हो
अब
कति लाग्छ
5 सम्म लिने हो
अब भाडा म भरौ जी
भाडा
औडरले त अनि म न भर्नु हुनु त अब मेरो माल त म आफै भन्ने हो 다 지대라니 강아지 홍도 지자리 다할람 향만 사당에 들으는 향마주니 조금 거도 디네 장님 소리 되게 어려서는 나를 히딩아도 그게 그거도 전 지그지그요 이제 지당으로 디 사장마 리장마도 띵어 작들어서 디 푸고 되는 거나 어디 저장 말가 되대 그런 돈도 있는 장 저장 말가래 샤 구지게 미니 저장 말가래 어랑다 근데 견현이나 해마고 다지 삽자 점보 라샤오 자카오 로테오도 능애를 통과하는 나지 수금 정도는 기부 중 가나서는 자신분의 내가 여든 매디 미에도 어찌부 사진 계획은 어제고 나를 빼기부 지구를 약락한도 지구지부도 지지지도고 어시지고 어디만 미에도 내를 쌤하고 대개변 대고 내가고 대주면 기부도
It's now early December, and in 5 months' time, when the spring sun has melted the snow on the high passes, Karma will gather his family once more and head back into the mountains on the journey that defines their very existence. And Karma will do this every year until he too joins his father's spirit among the snowy summits of the high Himalaya.